Ecosystem incubator. So we don't incubate individual startups, we incubate community, trying to create a better environment for entrepreneurs to be successful in and around KC. So just a little bit to understand how this is even possible. So we have a very fortunate situation. In summer of 2014, I happened to meet Mike Wren, who's a successful entrepreneur, insurance guy, but is passionate about teaching students about entrepreneurship, and reached out to community. I happened to be one of those random people, and told me about this app he was wanting to build to teach students about entrepreneurship. I loved his passion, he was really excited, but I had to take the opportunity to tell him it was a bad idea. You don't learn entrepreneurship by reading an app. You gotta experience it. So I pitched him Mecca Challenge, and he loved it, and a month later we started CEED. So it's privately funded by Affinity Enterprise Group with CEO Mike Wren, and the CEED family is now Mecca Challenge, which is a one-day innovation competition for students and now teachers. Startland News, an online publication covering entrepreneurship in and around Kansas City, and Village Square, a co-working space in the Kansas City Startup Village. So let's take a second to introduce you to our incredibly normal team. You got Bobby Birch right over here. He's editor-in-chief of Startland News. Kat Hungerford is managing editor of Startland News, as well as does a lot of our digital marketing. Andrea Essner here, who manages Village Square, as well as our educational efforts. And then myself, director of entrepreneurship, or whatever title I gave myself, and also community builder for Startland. So we have a great team. We're going to stick around. Excited to kind of connect with you guys.
Village Square is a co-working studio, like Adam said, in the heart of the Kansas City Startup Village. And we are a 3,000 square foot space. We have 20 dedicated desk spaces and an event space in the back. Being in the heart of the Kansas City Startup Village, we're right in the middle of all of the action. So the first house that got Google Fiber is actually 2 doors down from us, and we have over 20 startups within a 2-block radius. For those who are interested in co-working at Village Square, it's mostly non-traditional workers. So we're talking about early stage entrepreneurs, telecommuters, freelancers. So we offer dedicated desk spaces to those people at $300 a month. And when people co-work with us at Village Square, they get 24/7 access to the building. We do have Google Fiber. And they also get to use the community event space in the back, as well as a small conference room at an unlimited amount per month. And then we also offer coffee and tea, printer, copier, office supplies to these people who would rent a desk space. For people who want to co-work with us but don't want the full-time dedicated desk, you can drop in at $10 a day, so we have drop-in passes. And we're open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And as a way of incorporating students more into the community, we also offer free co-working for students. The event space, which you can see here on the bottom, and the small conference room are also available for rental for people outside of Village Square, so it's not just for our tenants.
Well, let's see if I can do this.
So one of the main things that we're focused on here at CEED, but also especially at Village Square, is building up the community. So we're located right in the heart of the Kansas City Startup Village, like I said, but we also want to invite the wider community in. So once a month, we have an event at Village Square called Second Fridays, and it's a really informal gathering where we encourage people to bring a 6-pack. We ice all the beer down, we do a beer swap. We put out a lot of games and encourage people to bring instruments if they play. So it's just a way to bring people together and let them hang out without any agenda.
Before we move on to the next one, I worked is firing up. So definitely brain dump everything we've learned so you don't make the same mistakes we did. Startland News. You guys have seen that. We presented at the Kauffman, so we'll fly through this pretty quick. But as a refresher, for those of you that didn't see that presentation, it's an online publication covering innovation entrepreneurship in the Kansas City area. It's only online, and we call ourselves an ecosystem news publication. So we don't just cover entrepreneurs and innovators. We cover government, we cover education, we cover corporations, we cover investors, in the context of entrepreneurship. So what is the city or cities, what is education doing that builds or detracts from the environment in which entrepreneurs have to work? So we're, again, online only, very heavy on social media. Especially on Twitter and Facebook, Startland's really been getting a lot of traction there. We have 3 email publications, and they're free, go out Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and it is the best way to stay plugged into the startup community in Kansas City. So we encourage you to maybe subscribe to that. We put out about 15 stories a week. And so there's always something new, whether it's news or thought leadership around issues that are important to entrepreneurs. So, anyways, we've seen a lot of growth in our 9 months. So we have reached about 10,000 page views a week, which is really exciting and a milestone for us, about 100,000 social interactions, and have about 1,700 subscribers in around Kansas City. And that's one of the things we are trying to do is we've reached the entrepreneurial community really thoroughly, but how do we get beyond that and be a resource for students and corporate innovators and more. And one of the cool things that we are hoping for and is actually playing out is being that reliable source for stories about Kansas City innovation to the country. And we are seeing about almost 50% of our readers from outside of Kansas City. So we are able to spread that news of what's happening here beyond our borders.
So Mega Challenge is another program of CEED, and this is a student innovation competition. MECA stands for Most Entrepreneurial City, and that name, Most Entrepreneurial City in America, that name came out of the Big 5 initiative from the Greater Kansas City Chamber about 5 years ago. So we strive to help Kansas City reach MECA status by doing this one-day innovation competition with students, where we bring in startups and teams of 6 students work alongside a mentor for the day to try to come up with the most innovative solution to a real-world business problem. So it's very hands-on, it's an experiential program for students, and we're really focused on building an entrepreneurial mindset in these students and getting them connected to the startup community. So a little bit about the growth and the history of MECA Challenge. It was begun back in 2013, like I said, specifically for students. And at that time, it was a 3-day event. So we did a 3-day event in 2013, same event once a year in 2014. And then in 2015, we piloted a 1-day event to see if we could scale it. So scrunch it down a little bit and do more. And that worked really well. So then we planned 4 MECA challenges in 5 weeks last fall, one of them with Northland Caps here. And once again, went really well. And we are now on pace to do 15 events this year and reach over 900 participants. Something else that's come out of expanding the program is not just the number of events, but we're also now reaching teachers. So the event was begun for students, and teachers are now participating as professional development to also build that entrepreneurial mindset in their classrooms. Another outcome of all of that growth is that we're looking at expanding outside of Kansas City to both Tulsa and Sarasota, and have also had some conversations here in town with different schools about innovating their curriculum.
So ultimately, none of this matters if we're not seeing the impact, and it's really cool. We've started measuring this with pre and post event surveys, and 50% of the participants have never participated in an entrepreneurship event. 90% haven't participated in one that involves being out of school. So that's what we're hoping to really change that and open up the door to the entrepreneurial community. But specifically with students, in one day, self-reported 15% more confidence in their ability to solve real-world business problems. 13% more confident in self-awareness in their role within a team, which a lot come in with no idea what role they actually play. Greater confidence and excitement around starting a career in Kansas City, and then their comfort level with professionals. In a limited sample size, that impact is multiplied for urban students. So one of the things we're trying to do is reach more urban students because they've never had these experiences that some of the suburban students have been able to. Really interesting results. We can talk about this in the Q&A with teachers. the self-awareness they gain and thinking they can do some of the things that they go to this event and they actually learn they're not that good at, I think is a real eye-opener for them. And then almost unanimous, people love Mecca Challenge that participate in it. So, okay, we're good. So a lot going on with CEED, and there's a lot of ways you can engage and help. We're trying through Mecca Challenge to reach a lot of schools, and ultimately we want every student to have an opportunity to have this experience. So connecting us to educators. Subscribe to Startland. Again, it's free, and these two work incredibly hard to cover the news and the issues that matter around innovation entrepreneurship in KC. Follow us, very active on social media. And then finally, if you have any stories, you can shoot them Bobby and Kat's way. But also, if you're a thought leader in anything relevant to innovation and entrepreneurship, after the first of the year, we've really ramped up our guest columnist program, and we have a ton of really engaging content that's just coming from community leaders and people that are experts. So feel free, if you have a topic, to pitch it to one of them, and we can see if that's something we want to publish. So I'll shut up, open up for questions, and see kind of what you guys are thinking.